Annihilation of Caste by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Part 17. Assuming that Chaturvarnya is practicable, I contend that it is the most vicious system, that the Brahmin should cultivate knowledge, that the Kshatriya should bear arms, that the Vaishya should trade, and that the Shudra should serve, sounds as though it was a system of division of labor. Whether the theory was intended to state that the Shudra need not, or whether it was intended to lay down that he must not, is an interesting question. The defenders of Chaturvarnya give it the first meaning. They say, why need the Shudra trouble to acquire wealth when the three higher Varnas are there to support him? Why need the Shudra bother to take to education when there is the Brahmin to whom he can go when the occasion for reading and writing arises? Why need the Shudra worry to arm himself when there is the Kshatriya to protect him? The theory of Chaturvarnya, understood in this sense, may be said to look upon the Shudra as the ward and the three higher Varnas as the guardians. Thus interpreted, it is a simple, elevating, and alluring theory. Assuming this to be the correct view of the underlying conception of the Chaturvarnya, it seems to me that the system is neither foolproof nor knave-proof. What is to happen if the Brahmins, Vaishyas, and Kshatriyas fail to pursue knowledge, to engage in economic enterprise, and to be efficient soldiers, which are their respective functions? Contrariwise, suppose that they discharge their functions but flout their duty to the Shudra or to one another. What is to happen to the Shudra if the three classes refuse to support him on fair terms or combine to keep him down? Who is to safeguard the interest of the Shudra, or for that matter, those of the Vaishya and Kshatriya, when the person who is trying to take advantage of his ignorance is the Brahmin? Who is to defend the liberty of the Shudra, and for that matter, of the Brahmin and the Vaishya, when the person who is robbing him of it is the Kshatriya? Interdependence of one class on another class is inevitable. Even dependence of one class upon another may sometimes become allowable. But why make one person depend upon another in the matter of his vital needs? Education everyone must have. Means of defense everyone must have. These are the paramount requirements of every man for his self-preservation. How can the fact that his neighbor is educated and armed help a man who is uneducated and disarmed? The whole theory is absurd. These are the questions which the defenders of Chaturvarnya do not seem to be troubled about. But they are very pertinent questions, assuming that in their conception of Chaturvarnya, the relationship between the different classes is that of the ward and guardian, and that this is the real conception underlying Chaturvarnya. It must be admitted that it makes no provision to safeguard the interest of the ward from the misdeeds of the guardian. Whether or not the relationship of the guardian and the ward was the real underlying conception on which Chaturvarnya was based, there is no doubt that in practice the relation was that of the master and servants. The three classes, Brahmin, Kshatriya, and Vaishyas, although not very happy in their mutual relationship, managed to work by compromise. The Brahmin flattered the Kshatriya, and both let the Vaishya live in order to be able to live upon him. But the three agreed to beat down the Shudra. He was not allowed to acquire wealth, lest he should be independent of the three Varnas. He was prohibited from acquiring knowledge, lest he should keep a steady vigil regarding his interest. He was prohibited from bearing arms, lest he should have the means to rebel against their authority. That this is how the Shudras were treated by the Trayavarnikas is evidenced by the laws of Manu. There is no code of laws more infamous regarding social rights than the laws of Manu. Any instance from anywhere of social injustice must pale before it. Why have the mass of people tolerated the social evils to which they have been subjected? There have been social revolutions in other countries of the world. Why have there not been social revolutions in India? Is a question which has incessantly troubled me. There is only one answer which I can give, and that is, it is the lower classes of Hindus have been completely disabled for direct action on account of this wretched caste system. They could not bear arms, and without arms, they could not rebel.